Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our January 19th special board meeting. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call of trustees. All trustees are present. Mr. Sampson and Mrs. Gilker are joining us remotely. Okay, so we'll start with board discussion item policy 0000, educational philosophy. And Rachel, could you please give us an update on that?
The policy committee is looking over a range of policies, and we're kind of starting at the very beginning with policy number 0000, which covers educational philosophy. That policy was adopted in April of 2000. A very fundamental policy. And we think it.
Your sound is cutting out.
Is Rachel cutting in and out for anybody else?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Now?
Too soon to tell.
Is it any better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Keep talking and we'll let you know.
Okay.
It was intermittent before. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
New earbuds are in the works. So the whole thing is that this policy is the bedrock to the district's philosophy and to the formation of any future policies. So what we're thinking is that this is something beyond what a committee should be working on. What we wanted to do is get a feel for how the board as an entity would like to address this, in what sort of forum and in what way. We want to get what are the priorities of the individuals of the board? What are the priorities of the board as a unit, as a united group? And also, we want to understand what Frank sees it as well in this process. So what we're thinking is this something we should do as a separate meeting, as a workshop? I don't know if anyone's had a chance to look over the policy, but it starts by saying this nation is founded on the basic premise of the worth of an individual. And that, there is a lot of truth to that, but how do we want this policy to read and sound now, 18 years after it was written and adopted? There are some areas that we have now, and some ways of thinking that we have now adopted that are important to understand and to perhaps integrate into this policy. And there's some understanding of the priorities that we see as a board that we should have on the policy committee so that we can use those in some way of guiding future efforts. So with that said, I'd love to hear, Cindy, is that where you were? I don't even know if everyone can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay. So Cindy, that's kind of where I was thinking we were going, and hopefully you can clarify for me or redirect.
Yeah, I think it is definitely in need of, like many things, revision, to say the least, and review. I think, Frank, you had thought about facilitating.
Yeah, it's something we discussed at the policy committee, is that if we wanted to talk about board members' goals and what you feel as individuals and having a conversation, I'd be more than happy to facilitate a conversation, similar to what you would do in a classroom, really thinking and having individual thought and a group thought together, pair shares, things like that. I'd be more than happy to do that for the board before we, having those conversations as a group, knowing what you each have as in your individual feelings, and then having a conversation for the policy committee will help kind of guide where this goes, is kind of what we were feeling. And it's definitely an option that I offered, and I would be happy to do it.
That sounds like a good
option. I mean, do people have feelings like if you'd like to do this as a workshop, as a facility, you know? Would you like to review and then come back? Because, you know, this is what it is, right?
Yeah, I think, you know, I'll just say, we did discuss this in the policy committee, and where we got stuck was it's so broad. And it may not necessarily be reflective of the views of all of the board members at this time. Maybe in 2003 it was, but a lot's changed since then. And we thought a workshop or some sort of facilitated discussion like Frank offered to do made sense, so that all board members could get their views out on the table. Policy committee can then take that back and figure out how to synthesize the views into a draft policy that we can review.
That sounds good to me. Any other?
I'd like to put forth that we should consider this as something that would be perhaps done as a special meeting where we discuss it as a group, facilitated conversation, but it's done in a meeting, in an open meeting. So if we relegate it to being a workshop, it's something that open meeting law, I think, does not cover. But I think that this is something that would fall into a special meeting rather than a workshop. That's my understanding of it. We're discussing a policy, and I think it's something that is something that's done publicly.
It's totally fine with
Yeah, no
me.
objection.
Workshops can be done in a open meeting. I mean, there's nothing
Yeah.
expected.
Right.
It just, if you kind of set forth, we're not planning on taking any action here, we're just gonna talk.
Yep.
And
And
but
send
it's
it
just-
back to policy.
Yeah,
We're gonna
special.
talk and then send it back to the committee.
Mhm. Absolutely.
We've got to have our group, and just start from the get-go, because quite frankly, I mean, what is it we want to do? I mean, we got to talk about it as to what this group wants to have before we go take it off in a long operation. I mean, we need to sit together and just have a talk.
Right,
You
Absolutely.
got to start somewhere.
great.
Absolutely.
You may find that, you can pull something out of what's already there and it's simple, or we may come up with something that we could put together, and whether or not that would suffice.
Mhm.
Good discussion would be nice.
Yes, and especially with the facilitator, I think that will help.
Whenever I've worked on things like this before, and we kind of organized it into kind of 5 parts. And one was around the educational program. It'd be kind of the essence of what this educational institution's all about. And this does a good job of setting it forth that. So I'd say that's be a part of it. This does not address at all safety, which has become a huge issue. So it may be something that you want to use as part of our update, something having to do with developing a climate where children feel safe and secure, and it's nurturing and welcoming and all-inclusive and things like that. Gets around to the environment you're creating in this educational institution. The staffing, the quality of the staff, their focus, the rigor that they bring to the program. The financial, you kind of get at it, but the financial oversight, I'll call it, that we are making sure that we're very efficient. And that's, I think, imparted in here at some point, but an efficient, effective use of our resources. And then you do a real good job of talking about community collaboration. And I think that's something that it should also, so I would say program, school environment, staffing, budgeting, and community relations are really, to me, the essence of what an educational institution or educational philosophy statement should be founded on, the kind of pillars of it.
Yep, and those are exactly the kind of discussion
Mhm.
that we
Yeah,
want to have.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Rachel?
Oh, no, I thought RG was speaking.
Nope, no, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say that like what Cindy was saying, and as a policy committee, we felt that we didn't want to take this step forward without a discussion of the full board about the priorities and the underlying philosophies behind the educational philosophy. And I appreciate that input. So if it's okay, then Cindy, can we just go forward with scheduling something that works
Yeah,
for everyone?
I'll work with Frank and we'll get something pulled together and
Wonderful.
we'll do it.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks for, you guys, thanks for considering all this.
Yes, and thank you, Rachel, for that update. I appreciate it.
And folks, thank you for offering to facilitate.
Go.
Okay. So let's see, moving on personnel, we have 3.1 to 3.3. Can I have a motion? Second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then we have this bid award. Did you want to speak a second on that?
Yeah, so phase 2 of the capital project went out to bid. We basically got 9 contractors per area bid, so general contractors we had 9, mechanical about 9 people, electric 9 people, and plumbing 9. So that is really unheard of.
Yeah.
You know, Jim, you've been doing this a long time for bids, and that's a lot of people going out for a bid. And what that basically means is that's a great thing for us, because the more people that bid, the more competitive the bid is, and that means the more that we can get done. So these bids came in very good. We were able to get almost everything that we asked for.
That was a great number.
Great
Yeah.
number.
It was great, really.
Couldn't ask for better. The timing worked out right. Everything was perfect. And little good news is always nice to have. Reputable contractors, all of them together. Really looking at a strong project already coming through. And we're able to also get the heat pumps at the elementary school, put in as an alternate bid. So that's also very positive because that's something that we need to do. We've been talking about facilities and we were worried that we'd have to budget that in. So we don't. And, you know, we're really looking forward to it. It's the science rooms and the technology rooms is what was already voter approved prior to my arrival. So those are the 2 areas that we're working on, and they will be, the technology room is going to be extremely efficient, high tech, but it will also allow for the district to grow. There's a multimedia center being put in there, so if we wanted to create a TV studio, it's already got the functions to be able to do that in the tech room. So we're adding layers on top of that plan that will allow the district to go 5 years, 10 years down the road. So very exciting.
Have you worked with any of these
I
contractors?
have, yep, I have, and that's why I was pretty excited about it.
So you feel good about
I
it?
do.
You've had good experience.
I have, so has the architect, and so has our clerk of the works.
So when you do so, I'm just curious, when you put out bids and you get these 9 back, what's the vetting process?
It's lowest bid,
It's what?
low bid. Our architect goes through it, they make sure everything goes along with what was in there and the specs are right, but it's lowest bidder.
But the architects do it.
Yep, architect does all of it. I wouldn't be able to do this, I don't know. I'm not an architect.
No.
Nor can read the specs, but we have people read the specs, our clerk of the work looks at it.
And who's our architect?
Mosaic.
Mosaic.
Oh, great. That's exciting. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Thank you.
Fantastic. Look forward to breaking ground and hopefully getting it done on time.
Good.
That's the goal, right?
Yes. Okay, and then our next Board of Education meeting will be Monday, February 8th at 7 p.m. We don't have audit, right?
No, March.
Okay. Maybe we can, let's talk, maybe we can get that special meeting before this board meeting. I think that's helpful with everybody, like if we don't have audit or the policy, because I think it's really important to get moving on this educational philosophy sooner rather than later, right? So let's check and see if that works, maybe 6 o'clock?
Absolutely, Jess is on, so I'm sure she's taking down notes on the start.
Okay. Does that seem to work for everyone? Because I like doing that because people have the dates of the board meeting blocked out, and I think it's helpful for people's schedule if you do things the same night, rather than trying to find dates.
That would be great. And maybe in advance, we have a policy meeting the Wednesday prior to that. And maybe we could just outline a few things for that and
That would
we'll
be
look.
great.
Okay.
All right. that
What was
works.
that, February?
February 8th, tentatively at 6 o'clock, Jim, okay? We'll do the policy one before board meeting. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so may I have a motion next to move into executive session for item number 6, personnel matter?
I'll move it.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And thank you everyone who has joined this meeting this evening. Have a nice evening.